Diversifying your revenue streams is one of the most important things that you can do to improve your financial health. And as it turns out, there are far more benefits to creating a side hustle than just the monetary factors. And in this video, I'm going to show you the math behind why that is, as well as discuss some of my own experiences with my side hustles and how it changed my life. As you can tell by the title, today I'm going to be going over the top 3 reasons why I think you should have a side hustle. Hey everyone, Daniel here, and welcome to Next Level Life, a channel where you can learn all about investing, debt, retirement, and many other financial topics besides, because let's face it, the schools aren't going to teach it for us. So if any of those topics sound interesting to you, or if you want to learn how to better handle your money and have more financial freedom, be sure to hit that subscribe button and the bell next to my name to be notified every time I upload a new video. And if you want to further support the growth of this channel, you can check out some of the links I've left down in the description below, which includes a 30-day free trial of Audible and 2 free audiobooks of your choice, as well as a list of some books that I would recommend checking out with your free trial. Or you can share this video with a friend and leave a comment down below letting me know what topics you'd like me to cover in future videos. So let's get right into it. The first reason that I think everyone should have some sort of side hustle is the added security that it provides. Most of us only have one source of income, and that would be the salary from our jobs. And that's all fine and good. You can create a financially successful life based off of just that. However, there are so many unknowns when it comes to the job market and the larger economy as a whole. What happens to you when the economy tanks if your company decides that it needs to lay people off in order to stay afloat? Unless you've had enough time to set your financial affairs in order already, you're likely going to experience a very sudden and very drastic change in your standard of living, at least until you can find another job, or your company is able to bring you back. And having a side hustle can help you limit that drop-off in lifestyle, or even prevent it from dropping off in the first place, depending on how well it's doing for you. And even something as small as $100 or $500 or $1,000 a month can help you delay the need to dip into any sort of emergency fund or, heaven help us, credit cards while you're trying to regain your previous level of income. The second reason that I think everyone should have a side hustle is that it can help speed up your path to financial independence. Now, you'll see a lot of stuff online about creating passive sources of income, and there's nothing wrong with that method. I'm a fan myself. But that's not the only way to create more sources of income. Some people get a part-time job, maybe delivering pizzas on the side. Other people sell things on eBay. Some people go onto Craigslist and look at the free section in their neighborhood, and then go grab some stuff off of that and sell it either on Craigslist, eBay, or Amazon for a profit. Others do a similar thing by going to the local dollar store and buying something for less than it's worth, and then turning around and selling it at market value. Still others hire property managers and get housing or apartments that they can then rent out at a profit without having the inconvenience of having to fix toilets. And still others start a YouTube channel or a blog, or there's so many options out there. I cannot stress that enough. And it may not be as much as you're making at your current job, especially in the beginning, but it is nice as a secondary source of income, which again can help you pay down your debts faster or invest more early on when you still have a lot of time for that money to compound, as well as just make it mathematically much easier for you to either retire or go to part-time if you wish to. So again, there are tons of ways that you can create multiple streams of revenue. It really just comes down to what one works best for you with your skill set and your goals, as well as the lifestyle you want to lead. And I'm not going to go over all the various ways that you can go about making money on the side in this video. That's not what I want to focus on today. Probably in a future video I'll go over a bunch of them, but today I just want to focus on the math behind why finding something that will allow you to get another revenue stream is so important. And I'm not going to focus too much on the debt payoff end of things in this video, because I think it is obvious to all of us that if you're throwing more money at your debts, you're going to pay them off faster. The angle that I'm more interested in is mathematically, what does this side income do for you if you wish to either retire early or go to part-time and coast your way into financial independence? Because one of the biggest roadblocks to early retirement for a lot of people when they're just getting started reading about the subject is that they feel they need to have $1 million or $3 million or some gigantic stack of money set aside in order to retire early. And you do see this brought up with a lot of people like Susie Orman. And I'm not saying that to take a shot at her, she's just one of the people who has brought it up recently. And while it's certainly going to help you if you have a lot of extra money because it gives you more wiggle room in retirement, it's not necessarily required. Now don't get me wrong, I'm not saying don't invest. I'm not saying don't try to get a large sum of money before retiring, because you definitely should still try and do that. But what I am saying is there are other things you can do to supplement those investments and maybe speed up your time to be able to retire early if you wish to. For those who have been watching my videos for a long time, you'll probably remember me talking about the 4% rule way back when. It's also sometimes known as the safe withdrawal rate, and it's a rule of thumb that many early retiree hopefuls use to get a good guesstimate of how much they might need to invest in order to retire early. The too long didn't watch version of the video is, in general, you need roughly 25 times your annual expenses in order to be able to retire and have a reasonable chance of not running out of money. Now, some people say that 25 times your annual expenses is not going to be enough, so some people do use a 3% safe withdrawal rate and have 33 times of their annual expenses. But again, it's a rule of thumb to give us a ballpark estimate, something to shoot for. But everyone's situation is different and everyone's risk tolerance is going to be a little different. So always keep that in mind as you're planning your future. But in general, it's a good ballpark estimate. And it's the one I'm going to be using for the math in this video because, well, I have to use something, otherwise the equations never get started. So say if you wanted to live on $3,000 a month once you're in retirement, which is $36,000 a year, which, if you're debt-free, is definitely doable, especially considering that you're retired, you can live anywhere. And that's not to mention the fact that in order to retire early at all, you're probably going to have to be pretty good at controlling your expenses in the first place. So $36,000 a year times 25 is $900,000. So that's our starting goal. But what happens if we had an income coming in during retirement through a side hustle? Let's say you started a blog about building your own business, where you show people how you built your business and what tools you used, how to get through the ups and downs, particularly in the early stages, and all of that sort of stuff. And you started using ads, affiliate marketing, as well as selling an ebook on your blog to generate some sort of income. Over the course of your first year, you begin to build a bit of a following, and you find that by the end of the year, you're generating right about $1,000 a month on average through your blog, ads, and affiliate marketing. You enjoy writing on the blog and figure you could continue doing this fairly easy when you retire, especially since it doesn't require you to be anywhere in particular in order to do, which means that in addition to your investments, you're actually bringing in roughly $1,000 a month on average in retirement, if not more, because the business may continue to grow. And if we're being honest, $1,000 a month is not that much money to make on a business, assuming you're consistently providing good value to your customers, especially if you keep your costs low, and have been possibly working on it for many years, which by the time they decide to retire, they very well might have been. But anyway, $1,000 a month is $12,000 a year. $12,000 a year in income during retirement means that every year that's $12,000 that you don't have to take out of your investments, which means that the investments don't actually need to cover all of your expenses. They just need to cover the extra $2,000 a month, or $24,000 a year, that are not covered by your business. And $24,000 a year times 25 is $600,000. So generating this side income has saved you from the need to invest an extra $300,000 for retirement. And if you do the math on the difference, it can really be an eye-opening experience. Say someone had already managed to invest $600,000 for retirement, but they didn't have any side income. They've built their wealth over the long haul, investing roughly $1,000 a month every month for a little over 20 years at this point, at an average return of 8%. At this rate, they would have to continue working for nearly another 4.5 years to reach that $900,000 mark. However, if they started working on a side hustle from the beginning, generating roughly $1,000 a month, and threw that into their investments, then instead of retiring in 24.5 years with roughly $900,000, they would be financially independent in just about 13 years and 9 months with $600,000, which means they're capable of leaving their jobs almost 11 years earlier than they would have without the side income. Now, of course, they could continue working until they reach that $900,000 shortly after the 17-year mark, and there's nothing wrong with that. But even then, it's still a savings of almost 7.5 years. Either way you look at it, it's quite a lot of time that you're saving. The third reason that I think that everyone should have some sort of a side hustle is that it has the potential to radically change your life. For the record, this is what happened to me. As many of my longtime viewers will know, my dad used to talk to me about finance quite a bit. He was always interested in the subject matter and realized how important it was to properly educate his kids about finances. I also realized that schools, at least at the time that I was going, didn't really teach us much about money. I mean, we learned how to write a check, but that was pretty much it. And heck, even the financial classes that I took while in college didn't really teach me much of anything about handling my own personal finances. And even though my dad died while I was young and before he really had a chance to implement many of the ideas he had taught me, I could see how impactful it could be on someone's life to be properly educated about finances, especially when they're young, just by where I was in my life at the time. Even something as seemingly small in the grand scheme of things, like finding out a way to graduate from college debt-free so that you aren't putting yourself in such a large hole so early in life, can make a huge difference. So I looked at where my life was then, and the trajectory that I was already on, and a desire began growing within me to pass on what my dad taught me to as many people as I possibly could. Because if I could get just one person, just one, to really get it, to get something to click inside them when it comes to money, then that is an entire life that gets changed for the better, and that makes it all worthwhile. It shifted my entire life plan. It helped me to decide to try out semi-retirement at the age of 24 so that I could have more time to make these videos as well as work with people individually and help them achieve the same level of freedom and choice that I've been lucky enough to experience myself. So I hope that between me and others like me, you're able to take the first, second, or last step on your journey to reaching your dream life. So those are the top 3 reasons, at least according to me, why I think everyone should look into getting a side hustle of some sort. But that'll do it for me today. Once again, if you enjoyed this video, be sure to subscribe and hit that bell next to my name so you'll be notified of all my future uploads. I generally upload every single Monday, and if you have a friend who would be interested in this kind of content, be sure to share it with them. Let's really get this information out there and start our own financial revolution.